Welcome back, my friends. This is a place where we tear down the walls brick by brick and we're peeling back the layers of life's most chilling, soul shaking moments. And it's here that we dive into the raw edges of existence. That's life, death, the shadowy in between, and those stories that linger in the shadows of the unknown long after this episode ends. And I'm Nathan. I'm your guide through the tales of near death, unexplainable forces, and the transformative power of survival. Before we descend into today's darkness, I've got a little bitty warning for you. If you're new here and you have not hit that follow button yet, you gotta beware, because rumor has it, if you don't follow the mortals, that you're gonna find yourself at a funeral, and you're tasked with delivering a heartfelt eulogy, but only to accidentally drop your note cards into the open grave mid-speech, leaving you stammering as mourners just stare in awkward horror. Don't be that person. Save yourself the eternal cringe. Hit follow right now. Join our community of shadowed souls. New episodes, they drop every Tuesday and Thursday, so set a reminder, tie a string around your finger, whatever you got to do to keep the chills coming. Oh, do you like my new shirt? You can get that right now in the shop. Discounts are available for those of you who become immortals. I'll link it in the show notes. Today, we are stepping into two stories that are going to grip your heart and twist your mind like they always do. These are real accounts, people, of survival that's against all odds, and it's so impossible that they're going to leave you wondering about forces that are beyond our grasp. And the big question, why? Why some people are chosen to live when all seems lost? We're going to travel into the chaotic terror of London's 2005 bombings and the devastating waves of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, where two individuals, they faced horrors that defy comprehension. So let's plunge into the abyss. Before we dive in, I want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you who support this podcast, support my music by becoming immortal, by supporting streaming the music, buying merch. You can do all of that in the link in the description and show notes. It would mean so much to me. Our first story takes us to the bustling heart of London, England, on the morning of July 7th, 2005. It's a day that's going to go down in history as one of the darkest in London's modern era. The streets are alive with the usual morning rush, commuters that are packed into the underground. Buses are weaving through traffic, and the air is buzzing with the energy of the capital city. London had just won the bid to host the 2012 Olympics the day before, and there's a faint undercurrent of celebration amidst the daily grind. Many people waking up hungover to go to work. But beneath this ordinary morning, a sinister plot is unfolding. 4 coordinated suicide bombings, later attributed to Islamist extremists, are about to strike the city's transport system, targeting 3 tube trains and a double-decker bus. The attacks would kill 52 people and injure over 700, leaving scars on London's soul. Amidst this chaos, we meet Clara, 31-year-old office worker. It's not her real name, but we're going to call her that for this story. And Clara, she's quiet, unassuming, a single mother, has a daughter, works as a data analyst in central London. She's lived in the city her entire life, and she navigates the tube's labyrinthine tunnels with ease. On this fateful morning, though, Clara, she's running late. She'd overslept after a restless night worrying about a work deadline, and now she's running and rushing to catch the Piccadilly. It's a line from King's Cross Pancras to Russell Square. It's just after 8:30 a.m. and the platform is a sea of bodies. There's suits, backpacks, hurried apologies as people are jostling for space back and forth, and clutches her travel mug of lukewarm coffee. Her mind is on her daughter's daycare drop-off and the presentation she's dreading at the office. She has absolutely no idea that she's stepping into a moment that will test the very limits of human endurance. The train pulls in and is packed to the brim. The air is thick with scent of sweat and morning breath. Clara, she squeezes into a carriage near the middle, wedged between a man in pinstripe suit and a teenager with earbuds blasting really loud music. The door hisses shut. The train lurches forward into the dark tunnel. It's a route she's taken hundreds of times, if not thousands. It's a mundane 3-minute journey to her next stop. But today, at 8:50 a.m., as the train barrels through the underground, something unimaginable is about to happen. The stage set for a descent into terror and a force that's beyond understanding, that's poised to intervene in a way that will leave all of us questioning the threads of destiny. It's 8:50 a.m. on July 7th, 2005, and Clara is crammed into a Piccadilly line train, hurtling beneath London's streets, just minutes from Russell Square. And the carriage, it sways with the familiar rhythm of the tube, the hum of conversation and the clatter of tracks as this dull backdrop to her distracted thoughts. She's mentally rehearsing her presentation, oblivious to the danger that's just mere feet away. Unbeknownst to her, there's a young man in the same carriage carrying a backpack, about to detonate a homemade explosive device that's packed with nails and bolts, a weapon designed for maximum carnage. This is the reality of the 7/7 bombings, where ordinary commuters became targets in an instant. Without warning, the world explodes. A deafening blast rips through the carriage, a blinding flash of light followed by a shockwave that slams Clara against the metal pole that she's gripping. It turns to fire, a searing heat that burns Clara's skin as glass shatters, metal twists like paper, and screams erupt, raw, guttural screams. But those screams are drowned out by this high-pitched ringing in Clara's ears. The train screeches to a halt in the pitch-black tunnel, and smoke is choking the air. The stench of burning flesh and chemicals are clawing at Clara's throat. Her body is a map of pain. Her arms are dislocated from the impact, and warm blood is trickling from a gash on her forehead where shrapnel had slit her. She can't see through the haze. She can't see because of the blood that's in her eyes. She can't hear beyond the ringing, but she can feel the crush of bodies all around her. Some are motionless, others are withering around, some are just moaning and groaning, but they are all in agony. The carriage, it's a tomb now, mangled, dark, and there's no way out. She's trapped 70 feet underground. The weight of this entire city, literally, it's above her, pressing down like a sentence. Historically, the Piccadilly line bombing was the deadliest of the 4 attacks this particular day, and it killed 26 people in this single carriage. Clara is in the epicenter of that devastation. Her chances of survival are dwindling with every smoke-filled breath. Her lungs are burning, her vision is swimming, and panic is clawing at her chest as she realizes that her daughter may never see her again. She tries to move, to crawl toward a faint flicker of emergency lights, but her legs are pinned under debris and people, and there's a jagged piece of metal that's piercing her calf. Every attempt sends a wave of agony through her entire body, and the air is growing thinner and suffocating. She feels herself fading, and her strength is ebbing, but something impossible seems to cut through all of this chaos, because amidst the moans and the distant cries for help, a voice pierces the darkness. No shout, not a distorted echo, but very clear, very steady, directly spoken into her mind, yet somehow outside of her mind. Stand. Go. It's this woman's voice, and it's calm, it's commanding, carrying this weight, and Clara is jolted from fading. And her eyes snap open, tears are mixing with soot as she gasps, searches for the source, but all she sees are unconscious or deceased persons. There's nothing. Smoke, ruin, and the faint glow of a dying phone screen that's nearby. Her heart is hammering, She feels she's losing it. Maybe it's trauma that's fractured her mind, but this voice, it returns and it is firmer and it says, move toward the light. It's undeniable. It's this lifeline in the void, and it's urging her forward when her body is saying no and begs to surrender. So against every instinct, Clara grits her teeth and drags herself free from the debris and away from people and the bodies, and a scream is now tearing from her throat as the metal shifts in her leg. Blood is gushing, but she keeps moving, and she's driven by this guide. She crawls over shattered glass, twisted seats, and her hands are raw, bleeding, toward the faint emergency light at the carriage's end. Inch, it feels like a mile. The smoke is thicker now here, and her lungs are having a harder time inhaling and taking in air. She's seconds from collapse when this massive groan echoes through the tunnel. A section of the carriage roof, weakened by the blast, begins to buckle, threatening to crush the space where she'd been pinned just moments before. If she hadn't moved, she would have been gone. She would have been buried under tons of steel. The voice murmured again, barely audible this time, "Keep going." Clara doesn't know who this is, but the words fuel her and push her beyond what any human should endure. Minutes stretch. Clara reaches the carriage door, her strength nearly gone, her body trembling from blood loss and shock, but she stumbles into the dark outside of the carriage, guided by that fading light. Rescue teams, still scrambling to reach the site from up above, are nowhere yet. She collapses against the tunnel wall. She is alive, but she is broken. The voice falls silent, leaving her with a haunting sense of purpose that she cannot grasp. When help finally does arrive over an hour later, paramedics find her slumped there, barely conscious, her face ashen, but her heart is still beating. They're stunned. There's carnage everywhere. She shouldn't be alive. Not after that. Not after the smoke, not after the injuries. What in the world pulled her from that wreckage when death was certain? People were asking, was it will? Was something greater at stake here? Was something at work marking her for a reason? Clara's survival on July 7th, 2005, in the depths of London's underground is this triumph shrouded in questions. She spent weeks in a hospital, endured surgeries for her dislocated arm, her shrapnel wounds, and a fractured rib from the impact. I mean, physically, she's mended. The scars are crisscrossing her legs now, and there's a lingering tremor that shakes her hands on stressful days. Mentally, the toll is far heavier. Nightmares of smoke, screams, they haunt her. And there's a voice always echoing in her quiet moments. She confided in her therapist, her words saying, "I heard someone in there. It wasn't normal. They knew I had to live." The therapist suggested trauma-induced hallucination, but Clara, she's certain that it was not that. And her family, her daughter, her parents, they clung to her tighter than ever after that day, shaken by how close they came to losing her. Clara returned to work eventually, but there was something that shifted. She began volunteering more with trauma support groups, and she was driven by this unshakable need to help other people, as if fulfilling this silent promise to whoever. In London itself, it bears the scars of 7/7, with memorials at King's Cross and Russell Square standing as quiet reminders. Clara has visited, standing near the station entrance, feeling a presence that she couldn't name, wondering why she was spared when so many other people weren't. Her story is tucked away in local survivor networks, brief mentions even in transcripts. It's not splashed across headlines, but it definitely lingers in conversations in London and beyond among those who lived through that day. Did someone beyond our understanding reach out to her, beyond her understanding, and marked her path for a reason that she's still unraveling? I mean, it forces us to ponder our threads in this vast and mysterious life and existence. Do you know how expensive it is to buy equipment? A ton of equipment, computers and cameras and everything. But I gotta tell you, you don't have to do all that anymore. All you need to do is check out Descript. It's an all-in-one audio, video editing platform, entirely online. No external hard drives, no all this and all of that. No expensive gear. So you have features like automatic transcription. You can copy and pasted words and edit. So you don't have to have all of these abilities as someone who's like, I know how to edit. You don't have to know how, because Descript, it takes the headache out of production, everything. Even has AI tools. I use it for every episode to polish these stories. I trim out the awkward stumbles and all of the blah, 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 blah. Trust me, it's a lot. AI avatars, super next level. You can generate a video of yourself. You're reading a script without ever hitting record. You type it and Descript makes it look seamless, like you're saying it. So whether you're a creator or you just want to share your own stories, or you have work to do, or you have presentations, deadlines, try Descript. You can get it for free. Get.descript.com/mortals. I'll link it in the description. I use this for every episode. You have studio sound. You can have compression. You may not even know what I'm talking about, but you know what it sounds like, and it sounds good. And that is because of Descript. It's not because of any of my abilities. It's because of Descript. You should try out their Underlord feature. It's AI-powered editing, and it's at your fingertips. You're welcome, people. Our second story transports us to a coastal town in Indonesia. The morning is December 26, 2004. It's the day, of course, after Christmas. The sun rises over the Andaman Sea, casting this golden glow on the fishing villages dotting the shoreline near Banda. The air, it's warm, humid, carrying the salt of the ocean, the chatter of families as they start their day. Children are playing on the beaches, fishermen mend nets to go to work, and the rhythm of life hums along as it has for generations. But beneath the sea, there's a cataclysm. A 9.1 magnitude earthquake, one of the strongest that's ever been recorded, has just struck off the coast of Sumatra and triggers a series of massive tsunamis that are going to devastate coastal regions across the Indian Ocean. On this coastal town, the waves are going to strike with unimaginable force, and they will kill over 160,000 people in Indonesia alone, and they will leave entire communities obliterated. In a small village just outside Banda, we meet a 26-year-old fisherman named Ramat. We're going to call him that for this story. And this guy is this wiry, weathered man, a father of 3, and he spent his entire life wrestling with the sea for a living. And on this morning, he's one that's tending to his nets. He's up before dawn. He's preparing his wooden boat for a day of fishing, and his wife is cooking rice over a small fire. His children are still asleep in their modest home near the shore itself. The village, it's this tight-knit cluster of stilted houses, and there's palm trees around it, and they sway lazily in the breeze. Ramat, he notices the sea that's oddly calm as he pushes his boat into the shallows around 7:30 a.m. And the water begins to recede slightly, and it's exposing more sand than usual. And he shrugs it off. Tides are fickle that way, he said, and rows out a few hundred meters, casting his nets under a very clear sky. I mean, he has no inkling that death is racing toward him at 500 miles per hour, hidden beneath the waves. Historically, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami is one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history, and it claimed over 230,000 lives across 14 countries. And where Ramat is, it bore the brunt, with entire villages swallowed by walls of water up to 100 feet high. Ramat is about to face this apocalyptic force head-on, in a moment that will defy every law of nature. The stage, it's set for a fight for survival that's so harrowing it's going to make you wonder what unseen hand might have guided him through the darkest storm. It's just after 8 a.m. on December 26, 2004. Ramat is floating in a small wooden boat off of the coast of his village near Banda. The sea is eerily still. His nets are bobbing in the water. As he squints at the horizon, he's waiting for a catch. His mind is on his children's laughter, the smell of his wife's cooking, drifting in memory. And then, without warning, the ocean shifts. This low rumble grows, not from the sky, but from beneath, vibrating through his boat. And he looks towards the shore and he freezes. The water has receded unnaturally far, exposing this vast stretch of seabed. Fish are flopping helplessly on the sand of it. Confusion is turning to dread as he hears this distant roar. It's like 1,000 storms colliding. He turns seaward, and his blood runs cold. This massive wall of water, towering higher than any building that he's ever seen, it's charging toward him. black, frothing monster that's swallowing the horizon. There's no time for him to row back. The first wave of the tsunami slams into Ramat's boat with the force of a freight train, splintering the wood like matchsticks. He's hurled into the churning abyss. The sea is this maelstrom of debris. Trees, roofs, entire houses torn from the earth. This water is brutal. It's a suffocating force, and it's dragging him under, spinning him like a rag doll. His lungs are burning as he fights for air, clawing toward the surface that doesn't even exist. He doesn't know which way up or down is. His body is being battered by floating wreckage. Cut, sharp pain is searing his side as jagged planks graze his ribs. Blood is mixing with salt water. He's disoriented. The world is a blur of dark water and chaos. And his family's faces are flashing in his mind as he is absolutely certain this is the end. In his town, the tsunami's initial wave killed tens of thousands, just instantly, sweeping away entire communities in just minutes. Ramat is caught in that deadly surge himself, and he's miles from safety. His survival is a statistical impossibility. He's still tumbling, he's drowning, his strength is fading. He doesn't know which way up or down is still. He is desperate, kicking, flailing when something pierces the roar of the water. It's not the crash of the debris against his body, against other debris, and it's not a distant scream, but a voice saying to hold on underwater. A man's voice. Ramat, his mind is reeling. He is spinning. He is being beat up underwater. He has not taken a breath yet. He hears someone saying, "Grab it." His eyes, stinging with salt, they're open. He's trying to see something, and he catches a glimpse of something floating. A broken piece of a wooden roof that's bobbing just within reach. Against the pull of the current, he lunges, his fingers brushing the edge, driven by this unseen command. He clings to it. His body is screaming in protest as this wave drags him inland over what was once his village. Now, just a graveyard of mud. Ruin. And the water surges for what feels like hours, though it's minutes. And it carries Ramat through a landscape of devastation. He's battered, half drowned. His grip on the debris is slipping as he's exhausted. The voice, softly, "Stay." He doesn't know what that means, but those words ignite a spark and they push him to grip a little tighter, even when his body is saying to let go. And finally, the wave recedes, and it dumps him onto a muddy hillside miles from the coast, tangled in the wreckage of his world. Bodies, cars, trees, everything just piled on top of each other. Him, he's alive. He's broken, but he's breathing, and he's surrounded by silence where screams once were. His side is gaping and bleeding. His limbs are trembling, but he's here when so many around him are not. Rescuers, local survivors, not yet organized aid, they find him hours later, stunned to see he's alive, and there's so many dead. They estimate that he was carried over 2 miles inland by the wave, a journey that no one would have survived. What in the world kept him clinging to that debris? Instinct? Someone? Something deeper? This force marking his path for this purpose that I guess he had and others maybe did not? Ramat's emergence from the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami on the 26th of December, it's a miracle, and it is wrapped in enigma. He spent days in this makeshift aid camp battling infection from his wounds and dehydration, and his body, of course, to a map of bruises and cuts. He heals. He has scars on his side, and when the weather is humid, it aches, and there's a reminder for him, he says, of the sea's wrath. Mentally, he struggles, nightmares, drowning, losing everything. Those memories haunt him. He learned his village was gone, his wife and 2 of his children among the countless lost. Only his youngest son survived, and he was found clinging to a tree by neighbors. the voice that guided him, echoes in his quiet moments. The voice said, "They need you." Was it for his son, or was it for something greater? He told a local aid worker weeks later that his voice, that something spoke to him. It was human, but it wasn't. The worker nodded, having heard similar whispers among survivors, tales of unseen guides. In this darkest of, he rebuilt a life with his son in a relocation camp, later a new village inland, far from the sea that he once loved. And he no longer fishes. Instead, he just works odd jobs, and he's driven by this need to protect what remains, as if he's repaying this debt to whoever. And his town stands as a monument to loss, resilience, with mass graves and memorials dotting the coast. Ramat visited the shore years later, though, and he stared at the calm waves. And he felt this presence that he couldn't name. And he wondered why he was chosen to endure when his entire family wasn't. Did someone beyond his grasp pull him from the abyss? Did they hold him up onto that debris when he felt he couldn't hold on any longer? Those questions, they leave us wondering. They make us think, what's our path like in this intricate dance? What's going to happen to us? Do you love to write? Are you a content creator? Are you someone with a million ideas, but you don't know where to start? You got to check out Poppy AI. I'm telling you, it's like having this brainstorming partner that never sleeps. Poppy AI, it actually helps me generate ideas for these shows and episodes that you're listening to, draft scripts, even refine the story hooks that keep you on the edge of your seat, that keep others listening, and even helps me dig up these obscure historical details like Clara's or Ramat's. And it saves me hours of research. So if you're building a podcast, or you're doing homework, or you're growing social media presence for your company, Poppy AI, it streamlines your workflow and it turns your rough concepts into polished content in minutes. Listen, it's intuitive, it's powerful. You got to give it a try. Link is in the description. It's going to spark ideas that you didn't even know that you had. You're going to thank me later. I do use it. I promise you that. I wouldn't promote it if I didn't. Give it a shot. What do you got to lose? Clara and Ramat, they walked away from the brink of death, and they were guided by voices that defy explanation. Their stories aren't just about escaping unimaginable horrors. They're about brushing against something vast, a whisper of purpose that hints at this design beyond our understanding. I mean, sometimes survival isn't this puzzle to solve, but a shiver to feel, a reminder that life might hang by threads that we can't see, pulling us forward for reasons we can't yet grasp. So if you've ever felt such a nudge, a near-death moment, a mysterious intervention, a loss that still haunts you, I want to hear from you. Join the Mortals community, a space for deeper conversations, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, a chance to connect with others, including myself, who feel the chill of these stories. You get early access to episodes, bonus content, and a direct line to yours truly you can share your own experiences with. Check it out. Link in the description. Visit nathanmorrismusic.com to join, stream my music as well. This is the best way to support this podcast, being a part of the community, but also it helps me continue to create these stories. Also, your story might be the one that we tell next. Oh, new episodes. They drop every Tuesday and Thursday, so don't miss a single tale. Okay. I appreciate you listening to The Mortals, where the walls come down, the mysteries stay unsolved, and sometimes the answers, they only lead to darker questions. I like it that way. Until next time, take care of yourselves. You're loved far more than you could ever know.